Howdy folks, it's Sahira here logging in for our Tuesday 30 to Thrive here on Instagram. So excited to connect with you all today after a beautiful long weekend. I hope that you had a fabulous Memorial Day holiday and were able to do something to celebrate, even if it wasn't going to, say, perhaps a crowded beach to hang out with a bunch of people. Yeah, so as you are logging in, hey TCB Roadshow, as you're logging in, let me know, what did you do for Memorial Day? How did you celebrate in a way that was probably a little bit different than how you typically celebrate? We celebrated here at the house, but we took some great bike rides around the neighborhood, and we actually did have my mother-in-law over, my brother and sister-in-law and their little one, and the cousins got to play together, which was really nice. We really enjoyed it. Definitely a lot of family time happening, and it is still a good thing. I'm happy to report that all the family time 11 weeks into this is still a fantastic thing. Thank you to all of you who are joining in. Hello, hello, hello. Good to see you. As you log in, please let me know, where are you logging in from? I'm always curious. We've had folks log in from all over the planet for these Instagram lives, and it always just tickles me to know where you guys are coming from and what you're doing and how are things by you these days. A little update from Houston. Things are getting a little crazy here, and people are out and about in mass, and a little worrisome, and so I'm staying here at home and connecting with you guys online and really enjoying it. So I would like to thank you for joining me and giving me someone to hang out with every Tuesday at 2 p.m. I'm really happy to be here. I also want to let you know that if you will be online tomorrow at 11:30 a.m. Central Time, I will be going live with Miss Lena Vai from the Bewitched International Online Belly Dance Festival. She's going to be interviewing me tomorrow. I believe that is taking place on Facebook, and I just posted it here on Instagram, the links and everything where you can find us on their event page tomorrow. So I'm super excited, and I'll talk more about this event at the end of our broadcast today, because it is starting up on June 1st, and it is going to be something insanely incredible. So I definitely want y'all to be there, and it is free to join in, and then if you do choose to donate, it's going to a great cause. So it's a win-win all the way around. Those of you joining in who intend to stay until the end when we dance, grab your finger cymbals. Oh yes, it is going to be a zill day. So please grab your finger cymbals so that you have those handy for the end of the broadcast. Yay, oh good, I love when I get hearts for finger cymbals. I always encourage my students to get excited when we're going to do finger cymbals, because every once in a while, you know, you get the collective groan. So yay, excellent. Yay for finger cymbal love. That makes me super, super happy. Thank you so much for joining me. I started doing these 30 to Thrives probably about 10 weeks ago now, in order to attempt to stay positive through quarantine, attempt to maintain connection, to find joy, and to really dig back through all of the happiness study that I've done over the last 7 or 8 years to find concrete ways that we can continue to find joy and happiness and thrive even in times of adversity. I know there's a lot going on out there right now, and I always like to say a big thank you to our first responders who are out working the front lines and keeping the rest of us safe. Please, those of you out there, help them do their jobs by staying in, staying safe, wearing your masks, and practicing social distancing. There is my PSA. I love to share my joy. I find that when I share it with you, I get more in return. And I have to admit, there's some days where I'm like, I don't know, folks, not feeling too joyful today, but after 30 minutes with you all, I feel better. Zurka, I'm glad you're here. Get your finger cymbals. I was hoping you were coming, because we're gonna do some finger cymbals today, and you are such a finger cymbal goddess. So let's do it, yeah? So last week we were talking a bit about awe and wonder, and the idea of how awe and wonder can spark joy within us when we kind of take a step back from the microcosm of our world, especially if you're finding yourself indoors, especially if you are stuck doing the same thing day in and day out. It's very easy to sort of put on blinders and end up focused on this tiny little piece of reality that is ours at this point in time. And we talked about the concepts of awe and wonder, of looking at our life, looking at our city, looking at our planet, our universe through a larger lens, to realize that there is so much more to all of this than we realize, and also to sort of put things in perspective, right? Like obviously what's going on right now is huge and earth shaking and completely historic, but if we could like zoom out and look at this from a universal view, how do we fit into the picture, and how can we appreciate our place in the cosmos and really enjoy the awe and wonder of being here. So I'm curious, for those of you logged in, if you have an awe or a wonder story that you would like to share from this past week. I would love to know. I actually have several, and just to kind of inspire you to look for these things. Like, I realized most recently, just last night, we were wandering around our neighborhood doing a little bike ride, as we are so apt to do these days, in the evening as the sun was going down, because it has gotten freaking hot here in Houston. So now we have to do it as the sun goes down. And we have bats in our neighborhood. And I have to admit, I've lived here now for 9 years, and I have really never noticed them, right? And so I had this moment of like, look at this incredible wildlife happening in my backyard. I live in the middle of the city, right? But we have a lot of bats here in the middle of the city. And I had never really noticed it before. So it was one of these like stop and smell the roses moments, but it was sort of stop and notice the bats moment. And it was incredible. It was really awesome. And the whole family was really into it. And my daughter stopped and she was like, wow, she thought it was so impressive. And we just watched, dozens of them flying around. And it's something that maybe I would have never noticed were I not in a situation where evening bike rides are like the only time I get out during the day, right? And then we talked a little bit last week, like one of my favorite awe-inspiring moments is like the moment when I can really tune in to the fact that I am a creative being. I have complete control of my faculties. I get up every morning and decide what I'm going to do for the most part, right? And am able to go out and build and create a life that I now love. And it's all just sort of this magical happening, right? I don't know if you ever think about this, and it's sort of it's a big picture concept. And sometimes I find it hard to grasp when I'm especially dug down in some of the more difficult things in life. But when I can wake up in the morning and think, oh my gosh, here's another day where I get to get up, decide what I'm gonna eat, decide what I'm gonna do, interact with my daughter, this person that I created. I mean, you want to talk about joy and wonder, like a person that did not previously exist, who now exists because I thought it'd be a good idea. Like, how cool is that? Those moments of stepping back out of the negative and realizing that there is so much in life that is pretty much a miracle, right? That I think it's amazing. I think it was Einstein who said that you can live life one of two ways, as though nothing were a miracle or though everything were a miracle, and we get to choose, right? So why not choose the latter? And that's an answer that I give to my daughter almost every day when she asks me, Mommy, do you think that the tooth fairy is real? And I never answer that question point blank. I always say, I like the idea. So yeah, I'm going to choose to believe the tooth fairy is real, because wouldn't that be cool if that were real? Let's just go ahead and believe in miracles. Why not? What harm does it do, right? So we talked a lot about that. If you're logging in now and have a moment of awe or wonder that you would be willing to share, I would love to hear it. It would inspire me and inspire the other folks who have logged in. Hey there, Melody, Caspian, and Sharon, and Vera Belly Dance. Thank you guys for logging in. So please share your awe and wonder. And now let's talk briefly about my moment of inspiration for this week. I'm curious, this question for you. Do you ever find that your mind has an incredible capacity to ruminate or to focus on the negative, right? And I'm going to be the first one to admit, like, feel free to wave your hand or raise your hand or give me a heart if you find it very easy that your brain quickly looks for what is wrong in your day, what is wrong in your life, what is lacking, what is bad, right? I hope I'm not the only one, because I consider myself generally a fairly positive person, which is why I'm here. But I have a habit, and it's a habit that I'm trying to break, where I wake up in the morning and my mind scans my day and tries to find the things that I'm not looking forward to, the things that I dread, the things that are not my favorite, and I think about those. And it's a terrible way to start my day, right? And so I've been looking to research. I always go to research. The scientist in me says, okay, how can I fix this? What is it that positive psychology has taught us? How does the brain work, and how can I fix this problem? And there's a great new book out that I'm going to be reading, and I should have written down the title, and I'll have to post it. But it's all about the negativity bias. And I bet if you search book on negativity bias, you will find this. It is so common the concept of being drawn towards the negative. It's sort of that whole train wreck concept we all talk about. Oh, it was like a train wreck. I couldn't draw my eyes away from it because it was just so horrendous, right? And so I felt better to know that I wasn't alone, and this is something that a lot of people deal with. Our brain is trained to look for these negativity ideas. Like if there's a bias, and it's completely natural. And once we're aware of that, as I am now aware of that, you can take steps to get rid of it, or to be more conscious of it, so that you can tweak your life to not spend so much time in that place, right? And so once we realize what we are focusing on, we can decide whether or not it is the reality of what's going on. So Zunka, you're reading a book about an intuitive eating and discovering new tastes of food. Oh, I love it. It's strange, but so interesting. This is one of those mindfulness activities that I hear of all the time, where you eat in a really mindful way, something very different from how we usually eat, right? Where we just scarf down food because we're hungry and we want to get on to the next thing. I have to admit, I'm one of those. I'm always like, if they created a pill that would just make me full and had all the vitamins and minerals I needed, I would take it and just be done. I'm tired of eating. But the intuitive eating and slow mindful eating, I think there's a lot to be gained from this, right? You get these new flavors, you get these new tastes, and you really truly begin to appreciate where your food comes from and the process by which it makes it to your plate, right? Which is incredible. So yes, I'm glad to see some of you understand this negativity bias. And once we're aware of it, we can begin to consciously look for the positive as well, right? Because the negative is always available. The positive is just as available. And quite often, there is way more positive than negative happening in your life. It's just that, that lizard part of our brain looking for the lion in the bushes that's going to jump out and eat us, that's looking for the negative that's happening. So they were interviewing the guys who wrote this book, and there's some very interesting things that they discovered that I thought I would share with you, because this might help you design your days more effectively for joy moving forward. I'm certainly going to be using some of these ideas. So they said something that was very interesting is that we as human beings are far more motivated by punishment than reward, which is interesting because I always try to use reward for my daughter to get her to do her schoolwork or to behave well. But in the end, sure as not, the thing that gets her moving is when I threaten to take something away, because we are way more influenced by the idea of a punishment than by a reward. Hello, Samira, good to see you. And so I thought, for me personally, I would always say, oh my goodness, if I get up and I exercise 4 times this week like I planned, I'm going to reward myself with new nail polish or whatever. Not food, right? Because that would be counterintuitive or counterproductive. But oftentimes what's going to motivate you more is the idea of a punishment. So perhaps if you do not do that thing that you want to do, that thing you're trying to add to your schedule that's going to make you healthier, happier, more productive, give you more time with your family, whatever, perhaps if you could come up with a punishment that would remove a privilege from your life, right? Like if I don't get my 4 workouts in this week, I don't get to watch Ozark. Right? Like that's our current show of choice and our little guilty pleasure. And so instead of trying to reward myself with something that's going to be less motivating, thinking about choosing a punishment that's going to motivate me more, because this is what studies are showing, is that people are more motivated by a potential negative and by a punishment than by a positive. I'm coming to you from Houston, Samira. Houston, Texas is where I am, where it's currently really warm and sunny, but I haven't gone outside yet. I'm sure I will at some point. So also, one other thing to learn from this is that media leans on the negative, right? Like so often when we turn on the news, there's a lot of negative going on. And obviously there's a lot of very tragic, very negative stories happening in our world right now. But I swear to you, there's at least as much positive, if not more. But it doesn't draw people to the TV. It doesn't draw people to those media outlets. And so we talked about this briefly a couple of weeks ago, the idea of putting yourself on a low negative diet, right? Of removing some of that negative media from your life in order to just influence what's happening around you, to influence where your mind is focusing, because that which you focus on, you receive more of. So why not focus on the good instead of focus on the negative? That way we can draw more of that joy into our lives. So I for one, turned off the news several years ago. I always tell my friends, I said, I am going to be that clueless person, that ostrich with my head in the sand. Like, unless it's something huge and I need to know about it, I've really limited my media diet because I find it generally depresses me in some way. It makes me feel very unempowered. It makes me feel very sad. And if there's nothing I can do about it, I don't want to know. I'd rather be here hanging out with you guys, spreading positivity, right? So just a few ideas there. Can you put yourself on a low bad diet, right? For this week and see how much you miss the bad. I bet you won't miss it as much as you might think, right? And can you, moving forward, create an environment that brings more positive into your life, right? Like less sensationalist news, more TED Talks, right? More education, more positive, more good, more growth is what I am challenging you to do. So if you are here live right now, I would love for you to post, what is your negativity bias? What is it in your life right now that you are focusing on that is not productive for you, that is not bringing you joy, that is keeping you in a negative place? And for so many of us, it's the virus. I will admit, that's what, if something keeps me up, it's typically that. And then I'll focus on like just how kind of crazy the days are with time and whatnot. And I don't have as much time to myself, as much time to focus on my work. And I'm trying to let that go because it's not useful to focus on that, right? So instead, focusing on family time, watching positive media content, and trying to drive the positive more into our lives. So post in the chat, let me know, what positive are you going to focus on this week, and what negative are you replacing with that to bring more joy to your world, yeah? Before we get to the zilling and the belly dancing, 2 quick things. There's a really awesome online international belly dance festival that is going to begin on June 1st. It's called the Bewitches International Online Belly Dance Festival. It's put on by this amazing woman named Leena Vai out of India. And I have just started speaking with her a couple of weeks ago, and now all the promotions are coming out online, and it looks like it's going to be 3 weeks of classes from instructors from all over the world. And I believe to join, it's absolutely free. They will be taking contributions that will be donated to migrant workers in India who have been displaced by the pandemic. And it looks like it's going to be a spectacular event. I've posted a couple things on my Instagram, on my timeline today that have the links to the event, to Leena's profile here on Instagram, as well as to the event itself on Facebook, where I believe most of the classes will be streaming from. I invite you to join me there. I'll be interviewed by her tomorrow at 11:30 a.m. Central Time. If you want to join in and see what we talk about, I'll be talking a bit about the class that I'm going to be teaching, which is a course about getting your online movement offerings on the internet quickly and easily, or I guess your movement offerings that are not yet online, getting them online, because I feel like it's very important, obviously, in the current situation for all movement instructors to have the option to go online, for their students to have the option to study with them online, and for the economy to keep moving. So that'll be the class that I am giving, but there's a lot of movement and holistic learning classes coming at you starting June 1st. So be sure to check out the Bewitches International Online Belly Dance Festival. Now, put on your zills. Here we go. So what I'm gonna do today is a little bit of a drill, and we're gonna add some movement to it. You can start seated if you want. I'm gonna stand up because I almost never zill sitting down, and we're gonna have some fun. So we're gonna be working with 4 different sounds, our 4 basic sounds as I would consider them: the basic, the clack, the tick, and the ring. Not in that order, but we'll be doing those 4 sounds. And then we'll of course be adding some arm movement and some body movement to up the challenge level for you zill stars out there. I know you're out there. And so we'll be making it a little bit more challenging. So the sounds that we're playing with today, and today I am playing my brand new, well, they're sort of new now, I've had them for a couple months, my tuts from Soroyan in brass, and I am loving them. They're pretty lightweight and they have a beautiful sound. We're gonna be playing with the basic stroke. So I'm working on the middle finger coming down towards the thumb, connecting, not quite completely on, and lifting off to get a nice ring. Basic stroke. We'll be working also with the tick. I fold the thumb zill in to mute it against my hand. It's being held there against my hand. Look at magic at the internet, extreme close up. And then I bring my fingers down on top of the middle finger zill. And I create the tick. I've always created it here in the center of my zill. Depending on the shape of your zill, you can also do it on the edge but find what works for you. So there's our tick. Our ring, you're just gonna release that to allow for reverberation to happen in your zill, and the edges are gonna connect. So it's a nice, clean, clear ringing sound. And then the clack, of course, we're gonna mute that top zill by bringing fingers down on it. And that's our little clamshell clack. So we are going to be practicing it today at sort of a medium tempo because I don't know the level of everyone who's tuning in here. But when you practice this at home, you can practice it at any tempo, and I highly encourage you to use a metronome because it gives you an idea of where you're at, and then you can physically measure when you improve, which is always a really good feeling. So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna be playing 16th notes. So 16th notes, we're counting them as 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a 5E and a 6E and a, like that. So it's just straight running runs, as they're often called in zill speak. We're gonna be using our basic stroke, and then we'll be using our tick, then we'll be using our ring, and we'll always finish each round with the clack. So what's gonna happen is like this. 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a 5E and a 6E and a 7 and 8. So we're gonna get runs until 6E and then 7 and 8 are going to be 3 clacks. Those are each quarter notes, no, eighth notes. So 16th notes, 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a 5E and a 6E and a 7 and 8. All right, and then we'll do the same thing, but we'll do it with ticks. 7 and 8 will remain clacks. 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a 5E and a 6E and a 7 and 8. Yeah, and then we'll do it with rings, same pattern. 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a 5E and a 6E and a 7 and 8. And then we'll go, and then I guess we can do it all with clacks the whole time. 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a 5E and a 6E and a 7 and 8. You can do those clacks as singles at the end or both hands together, just to give it a little more oomph, whatever you like best. So we'll start it like that, where we do 6 full counts, 7 and 8 are the clacks. Then we're gonna up the ante and switch in between the sounds within those 6 counts. So what that will be like when we switch to this, it's going to be 2 counts of each, 2 counts of each. So it's going to be 1E and a 2E and a switch, 3E and a 4E and a switch, 5E and a 6E and a 7 and 8. So it'll be basic, tick, ring, 7 and 8, right? So we'll go from 6 full counts of one sound, 7 and 8 clacks, to using all 3 sounds within those 6 counts. 7 and 8 are always going to be the clacks. So let's try it a couple of times just with the zills. And then of course we have to dance. Once we get dancing, dancer's choice. If this is new to you and you've never done it before, I encourage you to do something simple like move your arms in a circle, do some belly dance arm patterns that you're familiar with, or you can also just do a step in place. I call this my white girl shuffle. I just kind of step in place, right, to mark time. Something that marks time is good because then you're not doing something too amorphous over the top of your rhythms. That way the rhythm of your body is connecting in with the rhythm of your zills, right? And then I'll give you some more advanced ideas. You can follow me as well or do what you would like. Yeah, so let's start at a nice medium tempo. We'll ramp it up a little bit once we're feeling more comfortable. But let's start with those 6 counts of basic, then 6 counts of tick, then 6 counts of ring, always ending with the clack, 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 yeah? Excellent. All right, so let's try it. 7, 8. It's 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a 5E and a 6E and a 7 and 8. Ticks. 3E and a 4E and a 5E and a 6E and a 7 and rings. Let's do that again from the basic. Tick. Ring. Oh, now we have to do all the clacks. We didn't do that last time. 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a little faster. 2E and a 3E and a tick. With movement, here we go. Oh, six now. Rings. Claps. One more time. Ticks. Rings. And clacks. And pause. Now let's move to the changes. 1E and a 2E and a switch sounds. 3E and a 4E and a switch sounds. 5E and a 6E and a clack, clack, clack. So it'll be ring, and then it'll no basic, then tick, then ring, and then the 3 at the end are always clacks. A little slower. 6, 7, 8. It's basic, tick, ring, clack. Again, basic, tick, ring. Again. Again. With some movement. Good. Again. One more time with speed. Speed it up. 6, 7, 8. One more time like that. Can you add some movement? Two more times. Last one. Nice. I can hear it. I can hear your zills from all the way over here. Yeah? Let me grab my chair and let's close it out. I hope you enjoyed that. This is totally inspired. I've been taking some amazing zill classes with the fabulous Helene. Man, the wonders of all these new internet classes happening now. And so she has some great drills that take you through. We do them every week. It's like all 4 basic sounds, and we just get a little faster and a little faster each time, and it breaks my brain every single time. And I love it. Thanks, Zunka. I'm glad you enjoyed. I'm sure you could do it. I'm sure next time I see you online, you're going to be doing it like 160 beats per minute. It's going to be awesome. So I really enjoy it. I really enjoy, sometimes when I get into the studio to practice, I'm like, oh, I should practice my zills, but like, what does that mean? And I usually just end up like kind of futzing around and having fun, which is great. But this is very concrete, like here's the idea, I'm moving between these different sounds, it's going to help me with my dexterity, and I am measuring my BPMs on the metronome, and so I'm able to like watch myself get better, which is very exciting as a performer, as a dancer, as studying any sort of art form. Being able to like actually measure your progress is a really nice thing. So I encourage you to break out that metronome. It keeps you honest and then allows you to see when you're kind of rocking it, which is awesome. So I want to thank everybody so much for joining me here for 30 to Thrive. I hope that I have given you some concrete ideas that you can use in your day to continue to be as positive and inspired as possible, to continue to find joy even in the current situation, to continue to look out and help others right? The more we can focus on those around us, the less we focus on ourselves, and the more positive we can be as we spread joy and spread these ideas to other people. So feel free, please, to share this with your friends. If you think of anyone who might enjoy being here with us, it is my honor to be positive and inspiring for you. You help me be positive and inspiring because I gotta walk my walk, right? I gotta walk my talk. Yeah, I think that's it. I gotta walk my talk. So I'm trying my best, and I want to inspire all of you to try your best as well. So this week, you are looking for negativity bias in your life. We all have it. I know I'm not the only one. We all have negativity bias. You're going to become aware of it. You're not going to judge yourself for it because it's completely natural. It's your brain trying to keep you safe. Hello, Theo. Good to see you, Alfredo. It's gonna help you be aware that it's there and work towards not focusing on it, but accepting it for what it is, recognizing it, letting it go, and then finding something more positive to focus your attentions on, right? Because that's what we want, is that positive focus to bring more of it into our lives. So I will be here again next Tuesday at 2 p.m. If you have any requests for topics or for belly dance class ideas, just let me know. I love to take requests. And then I'm also on Facebook Live at 7 p.m. on Saturday. And then I will also be on Facebook with the Bewitches International Belly Dance Festival tomorrow at 11:30 Central Time, 11:30 a.m. to interview with Miss Lena Vi, who is creating this amazing event. Hi, Anjalia. Good to see you. And so please join me there or everywhere. And I hope to see and dance with you all very soon. Until then, keep moving, keep connecting, keep positive and joyful. And I look forward to chatting with you later. Take care. Thank you, guys.